Fool's goal is what I would describe it as. What's good, YouTube? Welcome back, Track Fans Global. We're here. I know you're wondering, why am I talking about Fool's goal? But as we go more in this video, you'll understand why I was talking about the fool and his goal. If I was to borrow a line from Coach Rob Track and Field, right, this is a video I have no intention of making. Right, when this news first started to be circulated sometime last year, I had no intentions on making videos on it. I've heard a lot of commentaries on it, but as the evidence is piled, as the athletes join, as more and more news become available, then it forced me to make this video today. We need to talk about it, the enhanced games. And sorry for keeping you so long in suspense, but I have to talk about it. Because I have seen a lot of people talking, but certain things they're not getting into. And I'm gonna get into that now. I'm gonna ask a few questions. I am doing this video not because I'm in support of performance enhancing drugs, right? I'm doing this video, right, just to give some more clarity, right, and give some more context and give some more further thought on the issue of the controversial enhanced games. And without further ado, let's get into it. September 2025, news break that Fred Curley, right, who was serving a suspension at the time, joined the enhanced games. And since Fred Curley, a lot of athletes have now signed on to the enhanced games. Now, for the person who don't know what the enhanced game is, it's a game that allows you to use PEDs, or performance enhancing drugs. But you can also choose not to use it. The concept of allowing PEDs is what makes this so controversial. But since Fred Curley had joined, Emmanuel Matadi of Libya had joined, Marvin Bracey have joined, Reece Prescott of Great Britain has joined, Clarence Manoa, the South African 200-meter record holder, has joined, and also Mohamedou Fall of France. Now, Curley, Bracey, and Fall, all these athletes, right, are currently dealing with drug suspension. Now, this is part of the issue that people don't want to talk about. Because if these guys are currently serving suspension for performance enhancing drugs, then some people will start to think that these guys were already doing performance enhancing drugs. And so now that the opportunity come with a big financial incentive, right, they just jump onto it because it's just right up their alley. Right, that is what some people will be thinking. So whether they say I am clean, whether they say we will not use drugs, it will always be at the back of the mind of some people that they are indeed using drugs. And that's something for them to really, really sit down and consider and think about. Because in the enhanced game, they're awarding $250,000 per event to the winners, and a $1 million bonus if a person break a world record. One thing that a lot of people don't talk about is that if you were to have athletes that are not doping running against athletes that are doping, then how fair is that? Can just imagine one guy running and winning race because he's doping, and the next guy running and cannot win a race because he's not doping. See the issue? I don't know if a sport can survive right, with having rules that are not balanced. And to be fair, if there's a sport that is like that, mankind tend to not like that sport. And so at this juncture, I can see that probably the enhanced games will become somewhat a fool's goal. The kind of goal that the fool find and think that, oh, I have pure gold. Just to realize down the line that this gold is as valuable as a piece of cement. And by saying fool's gold, I'm not calling athletes fools, because athletes got to eat. And if there's a big offer out there for them to use their talent to make money, I have no problem with athletes doing that. But I'm thinking that enhanced game might not survive past this inaugural competition. I don't think there's a lot of people that really want to have sport where people are winning just because they're taking drugs. And I don't think there's a niche of people wanting sports where people just do it to get world records. I don't think that's a niche either. And I don't really think that they have the market to really survive, as in the enhanced games, past this competition that will be held in May 2026. I might be wrong, but I doubt it. 4 females have now signed on to the enhanced games, right? And the females are one, Shakura Wallace. She hails from Jamaica, right? She is pretty much a retired sprinter. The next sprinter, Shania Collins, right? She was an American sprinter who ran 10.92 for 100 and 22.45 for 200. The next athlete that joined recently is Danae McFarlane. She also hails from Jamaica, right? And the last female athlete, right, that has signed on to the enhanced games so far as of January 31st, 2026, is Jasmine Abrams, and she comes from the island of Guyana. Now, as I look at the women's list, and kind of something we see on the men's list also, the athletes that are joining the enhanced games, these are not the prominent athletes in mainstream track and field. So these athletes are not the Noah Lyles, they are not the Kenny Bednarik, right? They are not the Letsele Tobogo, they are not the Kishane Thompson, they are not the Oblique Civil. These are athletes that so far they haven't made it to any dizzy heights in the sport of track and field. And so more than likely these athletes are using, right, the opportunity of getting a big payday, getting life-changing money. They are not really thinking about how controversial the enhanced game really is. And that whether they do it clean or not, whether they win the race clean or not at the enhanced games, it will always come with the stigma that probably these athletes are not clean. Right? I know some people don't really care about that per se. They just want the money, right? Because to be fair, these athletes are not making any money or much money in mainstream track and field anyway. And so that's why they would have just latched on to the enhanced games in order to make money. Understand? I know the enhanced games are not really thinking that any of these athletes that are now signing up can win the $1 million bonus for a world record. Because a lot of people have the notion that once you're taking PEDs, you will be super talented, you will break world records, but that's further from the truth. Taking PEDs and not training and putting all the other elements needed to be a great athlete mean that you will just be average. And so far, a lot of the athletes who have signed on to the enhanced games, they doesn't give us any impression that they have the ability to break, as it were, world records, whether or not they are enhancing their doping or not. Right? So, a last thing that I see no one considering is the fact that those who have money and decide to do a business venture with their money, right, generally have an idea of what they hope to accomplish. So while the athletes see this as a big incentive for a stepping stone to better their life, the enhanced game see this as a way to promote and promulgate their ideas. So what will the athlete's contract look like? It's a question. Whether or not doctors will be assigned to each athlete, right? In the hope that if they want to really use PEDs, then the doctor is always there to say this amount, that amount, do this at whatever time, right? Now, if this is the case, because this is how they talk concerning the enhanced games, that PEDs or performance enhancing drug can be done in a controlled manner, right? And so it would be safe for athletes. But what other things will be in the athlete's contract? That's the question that I would want to know. Will the athletes be at a disadvantage because those who are willing to invest their money are also capable of setting rules and guidelines to how people can attain this money? And it might just go behind us running a 100-meter race or a 200-meter race. So as of January 31st, 2026, these are the thoughts going through my head. And I want to hear from all of you. What do you think about the enhanced games? It's a good idea? Bad idea? Will it survive? Right? And just blow up the comment section. Right? Because from Track Fans Global, track and field from Jamaica to Pakistan, you understand? I'm out.